A sinkhole opened on the main straight of MotoGP's first Brazilian Grand Prix in 22 years. 80 minutes of emergency repairs. A paddock that did not know until the last moment whether the race would happen at all. And then, when it finally did, Marc Marquez won it. And the way he won it is the part that changes the championship conversation. This was not supposed to be Marquez's weekend. He had crashed in qualifying at turn 4, the same corner that eliminated Bagnaia, Acosta, and several others across the 2 days in Goiânia. Yet somehow still found himself on the front row. He had spent the entire build-up acknowledging that the circuit's 9 right-hand corners do not suit his natural riding style. He had gone into the weekend 23 points behind Acosta in the standings after Thailand ended in mechanical failure while he was fighting for the podium. He arrived in Brazil at a track he admitted was not designed for him, on a weekend he could not afford to leave empty-handed. And in those circumstances, at a circuit nobody had ever raced after a delay caused by a collapsed drainage pipe having already crashed once in the session that decided the grid, he won the sprint. That is the story of 2025 compressed into one Saturday afternoon in Brazil. A rider who does not wait for the right conditions. He finds a way through the wrong ones. Before we go any further, if you enjoy real MotoGP analysis, the tactics, the psychology, the stories that define a championship, subscribe. Now back to the race, and the moment that made it. Di Giannantonio took the whole shot from pole and immediately pulled away. Marquez settled into third behind Quartararo, who spent the opening 2 laps defending second with everything he had, holding the reigning champion at bay on a track where the Yamaha Fight 4 was finally showing what it can do through long right-hand corners and giving Di Giannantonio the breathing space to build his advantage over the field. By the time Marquez finally cleared the Yamaha, Di Giannantonio had stretched his lead to 1.4 seconds, 15 laps, a satellite Ducati on pole, a rider who had crashed in qualifying and come through Q1 to take it, and the reigning world champion staring at a gap that logic said was too large to close in the laps remaining. Marquez's own words afterward told the story of his mindset at that moment. Today, honestly speaking, second place was enough. A champion who had done the calculation and accepted the result, and then refused to stop watching for the moment that might change it. Because with Marquez, the calculation never fully closes. Lap by lap, he began to close the gap, applying pressure without throwing the race away, building the psychological weight of his presence behind Di Giannantonio's rear tyre. Then came turn 12, 2 laps to go. Di Giannantonio ran slightly wide onto the straight, losing momentum at exactly the wrong moment. Marquez was ready. When I saw his mistake, then I tried to attack. I knew that it would be difficult to overtake him, but he nearly lost the front and then went wide. The move was clean. Di Giannantonio fought back on the final lap. Marquez held. First win of 2026. First win since returning from the shoulder injury that forced him out of the final 4 rounds of 2025. Do you think this sprint win changes the championship picture? Or is Acosta still the favourite after round 2? Drop your answer in the comments. The sinkhole itself deserves its own paragraph because it reframes the entire weekend. It opened on the main straight after qualifying, caused by burst drainage pipes weakened by days of heavy rain that had been flooding the circuit since Monday. Workers arrived immediately. MotoGP announced the sprint would start 20 minutes late, then 35. Then an hour, then 80 minutes, the final delay, and the one that held. Marquez was characteristically direct about the risk once racing. Was confirmed. We pray to keep like it is. That big hole is out of the line, so for that reason we were able to race. Jorge Martin was more relaxed, suggesting MotoGP could race even with the hole as it was. An opinion not universally shared by those who had seen the size of the cavity. What the delay did, beyond the obvious disruption, was add another layer of pressure to an already unprecedented weekend. A new circuit, a track still weeping water from the clay surface underneath long after the rain had stopped. A qualifying session that had eliminated championship leader Acosta from the front rows entirely, leaving him 9th on the grid, where 1 point was the best he could manage from the sprint. And a race that only happened because the emergency concrete work held firm. The MotoGP that arrived in Brazil was always going to produce a story. The first race here since 2004. Diogo Moreira finishing 10th in front of his home crowd in only his second MotoGP weekend. The Sinkhole turned it into something wilder. And in the middle of all of it, Marquez was patient, calculated, and when the moment arrived, lethal. He crashed in qualifying, started third, absorbed a 1.4-second deficit, and won the championship standings after round 2. Acosta 26 points, Bezzecchi 25, Marquez 20. 3 riders separated by 6 points. The 2026 title fight just became something very different. The championship standings after round 2. Acosta 26 points, Bezzecchi 25, Marquez 20. 3 riders separated by 6 points. But the numbers understate what Brazil actually shifted. Acosta took 1 point from the sprint. 9th place, from 9th on the grid, a weekend where the championship leader was essentially a spectator in the front fight. Bezzecchi fought to 4th from Q1, but could not challenge for the win. And Marquez, who crashed in qualifying, started 3rd on a track he admitted does not suit him, absorbed a 1.4-second deficit. 1. The points are close. The momentum is not. Di Giannantonio goes home with a pole and a near miss. Martin takes Aprilia's first sprint podium of the season. Quartararo takes 6th. A result Yamaha could not have pictured at the start of a weekend that became the V4's best showing yet through the right-hand corners that define Goiânia. And the reigning champion leaves Brazil with a win, a gap to the championship leader reduced from 23 points to 6, and a message sent to everyone ahead of him. This was not just a sprint result, it was a reminder, delivered precisely when it was needed most, of why Marquez has 7 Premier Class titles. The 2026 championship just became a different fight. Was the sprint win about Marquez's brilliance? Or did Di Giannantonio hand it to him with that late mistake? And with Acosta taking only 1 point from the sprint, does this reset the championship picture entirely? If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe. There is a lot more of this coming. Leave your answers in the comments below.